Well, we are visiting with Randy Travis, America's hottest country singer. And I think justifiably I can say that because recently the Academy of Country Music in Hollywood, he won 4 awards after being nominated for 4. And Randy, you won what?
We got Single of the Year, Album of the Year, Male Vocalist of the Year, and Song of the Year. That was really hard to believe. I thought because the album did so well, and I thought, well, we've probably got a little bit of a chance on that. But boy, the male vocalist was really a shock.
Did you have a speech prepared for that?
Yeah, I thought of a few things. I didn't think of enough to accept 4 awards. It's funny. I set out and I always think of a few things at these shows, and but when I get up on stage, they never come out quite like I planned it.
Is that a little frightening when you go up on stage and everybody is looking at you and you know you're being seen nationwide on television and you are the focal point of attention. You are the male vocalist of the year. Wow.
It is a little scary. You know what uh, really makes you a little nervous is to go on stage and have to sing or accept an award, whatever you might be doing on stage, and seeing people like Hank Jr. or people like Conway and Loretta out in the audience. That kind of makes you nervous.
The people who are your heroes.
Yeah, people I've been listening to for a long time. I remember when Johnny Paycheck was having a lot of big records. I remember getting to go backstage and meet him. That was a big night.
Now, what was the name of the club?
Called Country City, USA.
As they say, did you have the house band?
Yeah, I worked there for about 6 years. That's a long time to sit down in one place, and it's kind of funny. You work there for that long, and of course, a lot of local people, a lot of regulars every night, and you finally, after singing that long on stage for that many people who are the same every night, you run out of things to say. You find yourself thinking, well, what am I going to say now after this song? And you just end up singing a lot and not talking much on stage. And I remember when I moved to Nashville, started working here at the Palace, it was an audience that would sit and listen to you. More so than dancing. And the first night working at the Palace, it was really a scary night because people sat and listened all night. And that first set that we did, which was about an hour long, I came off stage and I thought, boy, they hated us. Nobody danced. Nobody was loud during the whole show. Ray Pillow was there that night, and he said, now this is a little different than what you're used to working for. He said, the people enjoyed it. It's just something you'll have to get used to. But, after getting used to it, I really enjoy working shows in a theater-type situation where people sit and listen to you and you feel like they're really paying attention to what you're saying and what you're singing.
Now, your career is rather young.
Yeah.
So are you still at the stage in your career where you sing other people's hits?
Yeah, once in a while. A lot of times we'll go back and, say, do an old Lefty Frizzell or Hank Williams Sr. We do in the show now an old Roy Rogers and the Sons of the Pioneers, Tumbling Tumbleweeds.
You sing Tumbling Tumbleweeds
Yeah,
in your
me
act?
and the bass player and our piano player. Just the three of us, bass and rhythm guitar.
I suppose you close with On the Other Hand.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
every
big
night.
one they're waiting for.
Yeah, that's the best song we've had for sure.
Randy, your real name is not Randy Travis, is it?
Nah, I've only been Travis for about 2 years now. I went by Randy Ray for a while, and then before that went by Randy Trawick, which is my real name, Traywick, but nobody could remember that name. They would say Trailways or Tirewick or Treadways. They'd never get it right.
Randy Trailways?
Yeah, they said that. One guy, and I forgot where this was, but I did an interview on the air, and he introduced me. He said, Randy Tirewick we've got with us today.
Tirewick?
Tirewick. Yeah, they never got it right.
Well, don't feel bad. I understand Janie Fricke, when she was new, was introduced as Janice Frickle. So it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, that's right, it can. Well, I guess, to start with, anybody's name, people hear the songs and don't really put a name with it a lot of times when you're new. And maybe hearing a name that's a little easier makes it easier to remember.
Travis is an easy name to remember.
Yeah, it's one that's been around for a while, a long time in the music business, being Merle Travis. And which I never met Merle, you know. I was a big fan of his. I wish I could play half on the guitar what he could play.
Do a lot of people ask you if you are related to Merle Travis?
Hmm. A lot of people have, yeah, at the shows a lot of times. In fact, several people have come up and say things like, "I was a big fan of your daddy's," and I say, "Who are you talking about?" You know, and they say Merle Travis. Well, he's not my daddy. In fact, I'm no kin to him. I never met him. But yeah, we get a lot of people saying that.
You're from
Marshville, North
Marshville,
Carolina.
North
Hmm.
Carolina. Where is that?
Well, people who are familiar with Charlotte, it's about 30 miles out of Charlotte, going towards Myrtle Beach.
Why did you finally decide to pack it in that little nightclub over in Charlotte
In Charlotte, yeah.
and move on to Nashville?
Well, I tried to be involved in the business from Charlotte, you know, and I had got to know a lot of people in the business. Joe Stampley produced a couple of records, and he took those around to the labels in town here and got turned down by everybody. And so he put it on a label that he started on, Paula, which you probably are familiar with out
You're
of Shreveport.
down in Louisiana.
Yeah.
You
And,
mean you have records on Paula Records?
under the name of Randy Trawick, yeah. A song called Dreamin' and one called She's My Woman. In fact, I was in the basement the other day and found a box of those records, and those are the last ones that we have. Found a box of 50, I believe.
Oh, I've I used to make records, and I've got several boxes that we didn't sell.
What I started
You
saying.
know, I'll tell you who else was on that label was Nat Stuckey.
Yeah.
At one time.
Little David Wilkins, I think. Several people got started on that label. I think they're mostly doing gospel now.
And you also made records when you first arrived in Nashville for, I guess, a private label called Music Valley Records.
Yeah, that's right. When I was at the Palace singing, my manager, she paid for it, and we had Johnny Rosen. Do you know Johnny?
Yes, I know John.
Johnny came out with his company, and they taped the show one night, and it's a lot of original songs that we did, and this is a name that they came up with, of course, being Music Valley Drive. Lib came up with Music Valley Records, and we just made it to sell to the tourists here in town who came to
You
the
were
Palace.
singing at the Nashville Palace on Music Valley Drive, weren't you?
And that's what the record, the label, Music Valley Records.
Since you have become a major star and force in country music, you've kept the same manager. The two of you have been together for a long time.
Yeah, I entered a talent contest in her club there in Charlotte, and it's been over 10 years now. And I won that talent contest and started working for her. And
What's her name?
Lib Hatcher, and I worked there, like I said, for about 6 years. And shortly after I started working there, she started managing my career, and has been ever since. And it's nice to work with somebody that long and then see something start to happen, and you're still with the same people. After working that long with somebody, you can trust them. She takes care of most of the business end of the music, and I do most of the music. Of course, doing all the interviews and doing the shows and recording and writing. I do about all I can keep up with, to tell you the truth, but we work great together.
Last time you talked with me on this program, Randy, we talked about the fact that you were traveling around the country in a bread truck.
Yeah.
Has that changed?
No, well, it has in a way. The bread truck still goes with us everywhere we go. Finally got to where I could afford a bus, and I bought a bus, but the bread truck goes everywhere we carry our hats and T-shirts and things like that in it.
So it carries the souvenirs.
Yeah.
Where'd you get
Myself and all the guys in the band travel on the bus, and then the boys who sell concessions travel in that.
Was it a real bread truck at one time?
Yeah, it was. It was actually a bread truck, and Ronnie Reno bought it and converted it into something that a band could travel in, and put 5 bunks in it and fixed it up real nice.
Did you have to buy a used bus, or did you buy a brand new bus?
Bought a used bus, and
See, the reason I ask you the question, a lot of these buses have a lot of history to them. Buses that belong to other very famous singers.
This one did. This one belonged to not Mickey, but Johnny Lee, who came out of Texas, and which Johnny didn't own it at the time we bought it. Sherwood.
You mean Looking for Love?
Yeah, that Johnny.
That Johnny
and,
Lee. I guess Sherwood Cryer owned it.
Sherwood Cryer owned it, and we bought it from him. And it was kind of funny. Sherwood's a nice guy. He's quite a character. We went out, we met him, we looked at the bus, and he said, "Take it, drive it a while, make sure you wanna buy it." And we were out over a month in that bus, and we would call and say, "Well, we want the bus. How much you want for it?" And he'd say, "Oh, just drive it a while, make up your mind, make sure you want it." So he was real good about it.
So did you finally buy it?
Yeah, we bought it and took it up to executive coach in Chicago, had it redone, and it's real nice because I started traveling, 2 years, almost, a year and a half ago, say that, and I started traveling in a car, which is kind of hard on you, and trying to sleep between dates in the back seat with a guitar and some other things, some concessions. And it's kind of hard on you. It was nice. We went from there. We got a van and a bread truck, and then went from there to a bus. It's nice to be able to go back and lay down after every show.
Yeah, I know. You're doing it the way they did it back in the 40s and 50s. You were doing it that way
Yeah, we were.
When hardly anybody in Nashville had a bus. Everybody traveled in cars.
I know. I remember working at Country City there in Charlotte, and a guy, Gene Watson, who I've got to know pretty well over the past 5 years or so. I remember when he first started coming to Country City and work, he was traveling in a car, he and a guitar player, and doing pretty much the same thing we were, just coming in, working 1-2 nights in a place, and then drive on in the car.
Randy Travis is my guest, and just before we rolled tape, he was telling me about one of his road stories. Tell that again.
Yeah, our guitar player, he's a great guy. People call him LD, some people call him Rick Wayne, which is his name. And we were working a town one night, and I was going to say something about the town, and all at once I forgot where we were. And I turned around and I walked back to LD, and I said, "LD, where are we?" He said, "Well, Hoss, you just finished My Heart Cracked, and I think No Place Like Home is next." He thought I meant end the show, but it was so funny. I just walked away from him. I walked over to our bass player and asked him. I didn't even try to explain to him what I meant.
You're getting to be an old timer, aren't you?
Yeah.
But yeah. I can see how that would happen. We start working night after night after night.
Yeah, we average working about 5 days a week on the road, and it's really hard. A lot of mornings, of course, we ride a lot at night in the bus, and I wake up a lot of mornings and don't know where I'm at, don't know what town. I tell you something that happened, and this wasn't too long ago, but our road manager had gotten up. He signed us in the motel and left a key laying on the table for me and my room number written on a piece of paper. And so I got out, and all right, to my left, which I didn't notice, was a motel, and to my right was a motel, which I saw. When I first came off the bus, I walked to that motel, stuck my key in the door, started to open the door, and it wouldn't work. And I was messing with it, and a lady came to the door, opened the door, and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I think I might have the wrong room." And I did. I had the wrong motel. I was at the one across the road, and I had went to the wrong place. But you talking about a shock when I was trying to open that door, and this lady comes to it and says, "Can I help you?" You don't know what to say or what to do.
Were you a little embarrassed?
Just a little bit, yeah. But she explained to me real quick that I was probably at the place across the street.
What do you want to do? What would you like to do in the future?
Well, of course, in the music business, I'd like to continue to have the success that we've had for a long time to come. 15 years or 20 years from now, I'd still like to be singing.
Would you like to make movies?
Well, I've never acted, but now it's funny you mentioned that because we have an offer to do a movie. And a couple of guys in Canada wrote a script and sent it to us. And the reason they sent it to us is because one of the writers is based on a real person. One of the writers say that I look kind of like this guy and act like him too, and so he rides the rodeo circuit. And the movie's based around these three guys who run around together and ride the rodeo circuit. And the character that they want me to play is a guy called Breeze. And we've read the script, and we even went so far as to do a screen test. and while we were in L.A. for the award show. And we've looked at the screen test a few times. To tell you the truth, I can't judge whether it's good or not. It's awkward to look at myself trying to act to start with. Of course, it was like singing too, I guess, to start with on television. I felt kind of bad seeing myself on TV singing. I felt like I wasn't doing too good a job. I felt like I didn't look right and didn't sing good. And but maybe I'll get used to it, and we might try it. But I'd like to try that maybe, and do a lot of writing too, writing songs.
When would you go to the cameras with that?
Well, if it happens sometime toward the end of this year.
Well, that sounds exciting. Randy, thank you.
Thank you. I've
Pleasure
enjoyed
to
it.
talk to you again.
Well, good to talk to you. Maybe we can do it again soon.
I hope so.